What if the very behaviors you think make you likable are actually pushing people away? Or what if that conversation technique you've relied on for years is secretly undermining your relationships? In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal 3 invisible social skills destroyers that might be sabotaging your connections right now. Here's a question that might change everything. When was the last time you left a conversation feeling truly energized and connected? Think of your most recent conversation. How much of it was you waiting for your turn to speak versus truly listening to understand the other person? Be honest. This isn't about judgment, but about uncovering something profound that might be hiding in plain sight. Most of us believe we're good listeners, yet research from Harvard Business School found that in typical conversations, we spend about 60% of our mental energy formulating our response while the other person is still speaking. Even more startling, we retain only about 25% of what we hear in most conversations. What's happening in that missing 75%? Something I call the validation vacuum, the unconscious habit of listening to respond rather than listening to understand. It's like bringing a tennis racket to a conversation when what you really need is a catcher's mitt. Here's how it works. When someone shares something with you, your brain immediately starts searching for similar experiences from your own life or clever responses you can offer. You think you're connecting through shared experience, but what's actually happening might shock you. It's the conversational equivalent of saying enough about you, let's talk about me, but using your story as the segue. When Sarah told her friend about her promotion struggles, her friend immediately jumped in. I totally understand. When I was up for promotion last year. Sarah nodded politely, but internally felt a profound disconnection. Her unique experience had been erased, replaced by her friend's story. This instant redirection happens with such speed that most of us don't even recognize it. We think we're being empathetic by sharing similar experiences, but we're actually creating a validation vacuum, a conversational black hole that sucks away the other person's sense of being truly heard and understood. This invisible force operates through 3 specific mechanisms that research has identified. Experience hijacking, redirecting the conversation to your similar experience, or as I call it, that reminds me of my story syndrome. Problem solving, offering solutions before emotional processing has occurred, or the let me fix you before you finish talking approach. Devil's advocacy, challenging perspectives when validation is what's needed, also known as the actually technique that nobody asked for. The most troubling aspect, this habit feels helpful and connective to the person doing it, while simultaneously feeling dismissive to the person experiencing it. This perception gap explains why some people believe they're excellent communicators, while others consistently feel unheard in their presence. It's like thinking you're an amazing singer in the shower while your family members are quietly investing in noise-cancelling headphones. But before you can address this problem, you need to recognize an even more subtle social skills killer that might be operating beneath your awareness right now. Just be yourself. Authenticity is key to connection. People can sense when you're not being genuine. This advice feels intuitively correct. After all, who wants to connect with someone wearing a social mask? But what if our understanding of authenticity is flawed? What if what we call being authentic is actually sabotaging our connections? It's like thinking you're healthy while eating organic gummy bears. Welcome to the authenticity paradox, where self-expression can prevent connection. Consider Tim, who prides himself on telling it like it is. He shares unfiltered thoughts and dismisses small talk as inauthentic, yet Tim's relationships remain superficial. Why? Because what Tim calls authenticity is what others call being a jerk. There's a fine line between authentic and difficult to be around. True authenticity is about congruence between values and behavior. Prioritizing emotional expression over relational values creates a paradox. It's like refusing deodorant for authenticity. Honest? Yes. Conducive to connection? No. Research shows socially successful people set aside self-expression for connection. Sometimes the most authentic thing is to briefly zip it. What if your version of authenticity is preventing genuine connection? What if your social GPS is recalculating to alone but honest? But there's a third invisible social skills killer that compounds these problems even further. It's so subtle that most communication experts miss it entirely, yet its impact on your relationships could be profound. Can you guess what it is? No, it's not your karaoke rendition of Total Eclipse of the Heart. Have you ever had someone share incredibly personal information with you shortly after meeting? Or perhaps you've done this yourself, feeling drawn to open up quickly to create connection? Hi, nice to meet you. Let me tell you about my childhood trauma and recent colonoscopy. That escalated quickly, didn't it? This behavior, what psychologists call premature self-disclosure, stems from a phenomenon I call the intensity illusion. The mistaken belief that emotional intensity creates relational depth. It's like thinking a first date should have the emotional weight of the final scene in a Nicholas Sparks movie. This illusion operates in several ways. Confusing vulnerability with oversharing, the difference between showing someone your heart and showing them your emotional underwear drawer. Mistaking dramatic interactions for meaningful ones, emotional fireworks versus emotional campfires. Bypassing the natural progression of trust building, trying to microwave a relationship when slow cooking produces better results. The intensity illusion creates a particular pattern. Relationships form quickly with high emotional charge but collapse just as rapidly. Why? Because genuine connection develops through consistency over time, not intensity in the moment. It's the difference between a sugar rush and proper nutrition. One gives you immediate energy followed by a crash, the other sustains you. This explains why some people seem to make friends easily, yet struggle with longevity in relationships. They mistake the neurochemical high of intense emotional exchanges for authentic connection, not recognizing that lasting bonds require something different entirely. They're emotional sprinters trying to win relationship marathons. Research from relationship psychologist John Gottman confirms this. The strongest relationships aren't built on dramatic emotional exchanges, but on what he calls sliding door moments, small, consistent instances of attention and care that build trust incrementally over time. It's less, you complete me. From Jerry Maguire and more, I noticed you were running low on coffee, so I picked some up. Not Hollywood material, perhaps, but relationship gold. The most troubling aspect of the intensity illusion is how it creates a false sense of connection. Both parties may believe they've formed a significant bond, only to discover later that what felt like depth was merely emotional intensity without the foundation to sustain it. It's like building a McMansion on a foundation of Play-Doh. Impressive at first glance, but structurally questionable. This invisible social killer operates most powerfully in our digital age, where likes, comments, and emotional exchanges create the sensation of connection without the substance. It's why you can have hundreds of online interactions yet still feel profoundly alone. Your 1,500 Facebook friends can't all help you move apartments, can they? But before we can fully address these issues, there's one more invisible force undermining your social effectiveness, and it might be the most pervasive of all. Imagine this scene. Your friend shares a difficult challenge they're facing, you feel genuine concern, you offer advice, solutions, perspectives, you're trying to help. Yet somehow, the conversation leaves both of you feeling strangely disconnected. It's like offering someone who's drowning a PowerPoint presentation on swimming techniques. What went wrong? You've just experienced what neuroscientists call the empathy override, the unconscious switch from emotional empathy to problem-solving mode. It's your brain's way of saying, I can fix this, when what the other person really needs is, I'm here with you in this. Now that we've identified these connection killers, let's explore their alternatives, the hidden social accelerators that build genuine connection. Think of these as the social equivalents of finding out your favorite pants had hidden pockets all along. Successful connectors practice affect labeling, naming what the other person might be feeling before sharing your own experience. It's like checking that someone has a bowl before you start pouring the soup. This creates a fundamental shift in the conversation dynamic. That sounds incredibly frustrating. I can imagine you felt undervalued in that situation. These simple statements create psychological safety before moving to solutions or shared experiences. Always validate the emotional experience before sharing your own story or offering solutions. Successful connectors practice balanced authenticity, the thoughtful integration of honest self-expression with mindful social awareness. It's like learning that you can be truthful without verbally drop-kicking someone. This means Being truthful while considering impact, honesty with a side of tact, expressing needs and boundaries clearly but compassionately, showing genuine emotion without emotional dumping. Authenticity exists on multiple levels. True authenticity honors both immediate feelings and deeper values. Rather than falling for the intensity illusion, skilled relationship builders practice progressive vulnerability, the gradual, reciprocal sharing of personal information as trust builds naturally. It's the difference between easing into a pool and doing a cannonball that splashes everyone nearby. This follows a natural progression. Factual sharing, like opinions about external topics. I think these tacos are amazing, not let me tell you about my digestive issues. Research shows that relationships built through this progressive pattern have significantly greater longevity and reported satisfaction. Match and slightly escalate the level of vulnerability in each exchange. Masterful connectors follow the connection cycle, a three-step process that honors both emotional and analytical needs. It's like following a recipe instead of throwing random ingredients in a pot. 1. Connect emotionally first through validation and presence. 2. Process the experience together by exploring impact and meaning. 3. Problem solve collaboratively only after steps 1 and 2 are complete. This sequence works because it follows the brain's natural emotional processing pattern. It's like asking, do you want me to fix your flat tire, or do you just need someone to sit with you? Here's a simple three-step process to start eliminating these social skills killers today. 1. Practice the 2-to-1 listening ratio. Listen twice as much as you speak for 1 week. Notice the change in connection quality. 2. Record your conversations with permission. Record or take mental notes. Review how often you redirect to your experiences. 3. Create connection rituals. Establish regular opportunities for deeper conversation. The path to extraordinary connection isn't found in sophisticated conversation techniques or manipulative social strategies. It comes from eliminating invisible forces that undermine genuine connection. It's less about adding new spices to your social cookbook and more about stopping behaviors that make your relational meals taste funny. Ask yourself, what invisible habits might be preventing me from connecting authentically with others? Eliminate these silent connection killers and watch your relationships transform, not through trying harder, but by removing hidden obstacles. Your social life might just go from awkward elevator ride to welcome home party faster than you'd think. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content.